So it's good to have the connections, but sometimes it can actually, doesn't go against us, but sometimes it can be a challenge. So realistically, what we need to then focus on is becoming known, making those quality connections, and also moving those connections, being able to convert them.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, let's move through to our main segment for tonight, and that is with Kacie Brignell. She's going to be talking about us on how to create connections, how to turn those into clients. She's going to be talking about a couple of things, networking and LinkedIn, and she's got some genius around all that really helps businesses to really make the most of getting those referrals. So a bit of background about Kacie. She has always had a love of connecting people, and I do know that because I often see her at networking meetings and often see her on LinkedIn as well. And her passion really lies in educating and inspiring others to develop and build and grow their business through the relationships that they create. So she is a great connector and she is all about relationships. She's the founder of Kacie Rose, and she does specialize in helping service-based businesses grow through referrals, through networking and through strategies, and in particular using LinkedIn, all without wasting a ton of time on probably some of those strategies you've seen advertised on Facebook and some LinkedIn that get you sort of DMing a million people to get a new connection referral. So she's not going to be talking about that tonight. She's got some other things that really work out really well, and also how to use sort of those DMs properly as well too. So with her expertise, Kacie works closely with clients. She really helps them to develop their interpersonal skills and develop repeatable strategies to find ideal connections, to generate leads, and really just showcase their personality while building a strong brand. And she really believes that establishing meaningful connections absolutely critical for business growth. So it is our pleasure, or my pleasure, to welcome Kacie back here. She's been here once before, and fantastic to have you back again. So let's give a big rousing round of applause to welcome Kacie to the virtual stage.
Thanks, Nick. I love the silent clapping. It's awesome. The visuals. Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to sharing this content tonight, because I must say you guys are actually one of the first groups that I'm presenting this particular content to, even though I've been talking about it for ages. So I just want to preference everything too by saying, when I say network, I could mean face-to-face, or I could mean LinkedIn. What I also want to say too is there will be time for Q&A at the end, but please, if you have any questions whatsoever as I go through some of the content tonight, or if a thought is sparked or something like that and you want to share it, please do in the comments. I'll be doing my best to keep my eye on that as well. I do love interaction. If anyone see me talk in person, I love trying to get involved with everyone in the room, and I love getting involved in the Zoom rooms as well. So please feel free to, don't have to hold off your question till the end unless you really, really want to. Pop it in the chat box. If I know I'm going to cover it down the track, I'll let you know, but otherwise please make this as interactive as you'd like it as well. And I'm really hoping that you're going to get some tips that you can actually use like tomorrow, because today is what, Tuesday? So there's definitely networking events coming the rest of this week. I know that for a fact. So you still have time to book an event in if you're actually not going to one as yet. I'm just going to share my screen so we can get that up there. And cool. Everyone can see that? Bit of a thumbs up or something? Yep. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, cool. So as Nick said in the introduction, I am talking tonight about moving from connections to clients. Alwyn, I heard you say you have a lot of connections. That is very common to have a lot of connections and sometimes not so many clients from those connections. But we're also going to go through a couple of ways to help you grow your business through networking, LinkedIn, and those referral strategies as well. This photo actually that you guys can see, that's actually the photo from one of my first networking events that I held, I think back in 2016. I've been to a lot of networking events and I've used LinkedIn a lot in my corporate days. But this was probably one of the ones, this was my first ever networking event that I held as a business owner. So I was very, very proud. Some of you may recognize some people in those photos. Alrighty, let's get this working. Perfect, cool. So we've got about an hour, but I'll probably keep it a bit less than that so we've got time to interact and Q&A as well. The things I'd like to take you through tonight, however, is I want to look at the 3 reasons maybe networking is not working for you or it doesn't work. I want to also look at how, if you've been in a networking room or LinkedIn or any other type of platform to build a network, let's look at how that actually generates business. A couple of the key things I'd love you to take away, maybe it's a refresher, maybe this is new for you, is how to actually introduce yourself effectively, how to create those quality connections, and a simple sales strategy that you can use as well once we get people, say, onto a call or on Zoom or something like that. And as I said, a little bit of time for Q&A at the end as well. A little bit about me, for anyone who doesn't know me, and I know I can see a few new faces, but believe it or not, I have seen a lot of your faces, if nothing else, on the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook groups. So I am aware you exist, we may just not have met in person at this stage. But my background, I have a big corporate background. I come from a lot of positions where it all came down to sales and KPIs and targets that we had to meet. I've worked very heavily in the events industry, very heavily in sales in both accommodation, event venues, places like that, as well as actually cinema. You think it'd be easy to sell cinema space, especially when there's a free movie on, but it's not, not all the time. And also I've done a lot of business development as well. And that's dealing with everyone from, say, a 10-person corporate event through to a 200-person wedding, through to dealing with people like Energex and BP and people like that to try and talk to procurement managers and the decision makers at the top there. So I've had a lot of experience in those areas, which is why I personally fell in love with LinkedIn, especially when my bosses at the time were saying, you need to do cold calls. Here's a Google map, go for it. And you're like, just because they're on a Google map doesn't mean it's the head office, like it could be anywhere. So for me, LinkedIn came into play because, one, I could actually get to the person I wanted to talk to, who I needed to talk to, I should say, faster. I got past the gatekeeper, generally speaking, the receptionist. But I also found a strategy. So in a sense, I could connect with more people faster through LinkedIn than I could do when I was doing those cold calls. And without doing the sleazy, salesy, thing that I'm sure we will receive those messages on LinkedIn at some point. Anyone not received those beautiful sales DMs straight away on LinkedIn? No, I think we all have. Yeah. Unfortunately, it can be common, unfortunately. So we help our clients to do it in a different way, in a more perhaps subtle way as well. In June 2016, I actually launched my own business, and that was mainly within the event space. So I was running weddings and corporate events and things like that. And I'm sure, like most of you, I got into business because I wanted to work, on my own time, do it in my way, and have the freedom that I was looking for. And as much as I love the events at that time, I was still on everyone else's calendar. So even though I worked during the day, I was still at events at night. I was still working weddings and stuff on the weekend. So I didn't get that time freedom that I was necessarily looking for. So in December 2017, I changed it all up a bit and I thought, right, I know I'm great at events. That's the one of those things I can do with my eyes closed. What else am I naturally skilled at? And it is networking and LinkedIn. So I personally have done a lot of personal development around personality types, understanding the soft skills and that sort of thing. I have done a ton of networking events, from business startup gigs type of thing to high-end corporate events to charity lunches, you name it. I've probably been to them, online, overseas online, all sorts of things. And I've come across a lot of challenges within that time. And I've also learnt how to read people as well. So for me, helping others learn those skills, or those soft skills as well, gives me so much joy, because I get to see you interact then in a way that's comfortable with who you are and a way that you're authentic without trying to be someone else, but still interact with people face to face. And then in a sense, transfer those skills into a platform like LinkedIn, where again, you can now leverage that network even more and find those ideal clients and partners. So not just clients, we don't just go to networking events and use LinkedIn to find clients. It is also about finding those collaborative partners or those referral partners. Show some pictures because I do like my photograph taken, I'm sorry. But this is some of the opportunities that building my network in person and online has given me. I've been very lucky that I was invited to quite a few movie premiere events. This was, and I'm going to forget the name of the movie now, but it was the Angelina Jolie war film. I cannot remember what it's called now, but we were invited to a lot of type of red carpet movie nights. I got to meet Margot Robbie at Wolf of Wall Street, which was pretty bloody cool, if I must say. And I also got to be part of the Wallace Bishop team at the Winner Nats. For anyone who doesn't know, that's the drag racing out at Ipswich, out at Willowbank. I do actually enjoy that space. I love hearing the cars and the motorbikes and everything else. So I was very lucky to be part of that team. And all of these opportunities came through my network. And I see it as, when you meet someone, you just don't know who they know. So you don't know where those opportunities could lead. So going to a movie premiere, okay, fine. Margot Robbie and I may never work together, but I got to meet her and she's pretty cool. And then of course, it's, meeting some key people in the different industries, as well as it's given me the opportunity, as I said, to run my own networking events, to actually be a guest speaker, a lot of events as well. And being a guest speaker, again, is another way to leverage your network, leverage the connections that you know in a positive way. Because if you're able to speak, or if you're not comfortable doing public speaking, but you'd rather say get online like a format like this, or even just go to events, it really does give you the opportunity to showcase what it is that you do, who you are, and actually obtain business from those events as well. But there is ways to do it. But I know from personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of you, because I know some of you speak in this room tonight as well, I wouldn't have had those opportunities if I didn't make the connection first, if I didn't build that relationship first with the people who run those events or run the red carpet nights and things like that. So I do have a question for you guys. Just out of curiosity, if you're happy to share, of course, when it comes to the clients that you have in your business, how many of them do you think come via referrals? Out of a scale of 1 to 5, so don't think too much about it. 1 being, you don't get any referrals from the connections you have whatsoever. And 5 being maybe you get about 80% or more referral business from your network. So if you just want to share that in the chat box, which I can see if I can open. Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to guess, Paul, you've got 100% because it's 6. That's pretty cool. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So a few 4s, 5s, 6s, 5. Cool. Great. Well, hopefully I've still got something to give you guys here. A couple of 2s, 20%. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I mean, at the same time, do you think getting referrals in your business, do you think that would make life easier or even running your business easier? Or is it something that you think is for maybe a bit too much extra effort or too much work? Let me know. Much easier? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. It's free advertising in a way, right? I mean, you might pay with your time or money if it's at a networking event and stuff, but it's in a sense, it's free advertising and it's people talking about you all the time. Yeah, much easier. Yeah, Paul, we have met before, so I do appreciate your referral base is very niche. I must say, my grandmother does know how to use Zoom thanks to COVID, so fortunately. But there was a positive out of that
number
too.
one go-to for every funeral director's place in the Shire.
Yeah. Perfect. And I mean, that's the thing is obviously, Paul, you're also nurturing these guys to continue to get those referrals. So that is amazing. Yes, Sally, networking events are fun. I agree. I know not everybody does, and that's totally okay. But we can also find a way that networking is fun for us and also a way that we're comfortable with. Because I will say this too, is when it comes to a face-to-face networking event, whether you're introverted or extroverted, your confidence is something altogether different. So you may lack the confidence going to a networking event, but it doesn't mean you're introverted. It just means that maybe there's a couple of things there you need to work on to give yourself that little bit more confidence to be able to say, walk into a networking room or engage in conversations there. Okay, cool. So the three reasons, or there's a few, but these are the three key reasons I tend to find that people sometimes struggle with networking or why it's not working. Because realistically, we should be using networking, whether it's online or in person, to really grow our business. If you just want to go and have a social drink, fine. If that's what your intention is, great. But I know most of us go to networking events or jump on something like LinkedIn to build our network, to build our business, to grow our connections, to get referrals, that type of thing. So the three key things I've found is that sometimes you're just not known. And I have a colleague or past colleague of mine, she's attended several networking events and people just didn't seem to know who she was, even though she had met them several times. And we worked out at the time, it was because she was kind of standing in the shadow of somebody else. So we talked about some ways for her to get out of somebody else's shadow and be remembered in that room. The other thing is, as I said, sometimes we go for a social aspect only, so we can make a lot of friends in the room. And although only because you said it, is we can have we make a lot of connections, but nothing else is happening there. So it's good to have the connections, but sometimes it can actually, doesn't go against us, but sometimes it can be a challenge. So realistically, what we need to then focus on is becoming known, making those quality connections, and also moving those connections, being able to convert them. Not every connection, and I use that in obviously quite a broad manner of converting people. We don't, in my opinion, we don't meet someone to turn them into a client straight away. We all know we've got to build that know, like, and trust. But these are the three key areas, or at least part of these areas I'm going to cover tonight as well. Own the room. Yep, own the room, take a leadership role. Yeah. And sometimes too, Paul, that's also, again, like I said, just finding what that means to you as an individual. Extroverted people can feel like they own the room, but at the same time, maybe they're just loud. So there's some strategies and techniques we can use. And other times the introverted people can really own the room because they are usually fantastic listeners. I have heard that introverts are better than extroverts at networking, but I think it comes down to self-awareness and just being aware of kind of what's happening around you at the same time. So let's talk a little bit about how our networks equal business. What I mean by this realistically is that how can we generate business and other opportunities like speaking gigs or something from our networks? And I think one of the key things we need to remember here as well is that networking is a long-term game, not a quick now game. But if we take the time to invest into our networks, whether that's in person or online, and we do it well, we do it with etiquette, and we also have a little bit of a strategy around that, we can almost have referrals drop into our lap. Okay. And to me, a strategy is what cements everything together. We can talk the fluffy stuff, we can talk the personality types and the feelings and the confidence and all that sort of thing, which is great, but we also need to narrow it down to a strategy in a way that works, again, personally for you, so that, you know, this is something that you can almost tick over, almost on autopilot, except there's a human aspect to this part of your autopilot. And I say this too because when I first moved from employee to entrepreneur, I was very, very lucky, or I'm very grateful, I should say, to have a business pretty much the second I stepped into my entrepreneurship or my own business. And that, I believe, was because I really took the time to take care of my network. My network understood who I was as a person, not just the business I worked for. And when I let them know what I was doing, I was actually getting referrals left, right, and center. So I was super excited, super grateful. But I realized after a bit of reflection too, it was because I I gave a damn about them and I made them feel important. And at the end of the day, we just had that friendship. We just had that relationship. I jokingly say that if I can't have a drink with my client, they're probably not my clients. And you guys probably have your own way of who your ideal clients are as well. You probably have, like, if you can't have a coffee or you can't go play golf with them or something like that, you know, maybe they're not your ideal clients. Not saying they have to be interested in golf, but do you know what I mean? It's that type of relationship that you can build with them. And now what happens, because I continue to nurture and build, that as simple as I get tagged in a Facebook post about LinkedIn and I get a client from that. And I do class that as a referral because it is generally from someone within my network who knows me really well or a past client. And I get referrals, like even this week, because I get tagged in something, because people remember who I am. Because at the end of the day, as we've just covered, it is, like I said, it's about becoming known, those quality connections and that conversion. Is so far in relation to that at all at the moment? Oh, you're typing very fast. All good. Awesome. Okay. So just hang on a second. Yep, perfect. Sorry, I need to clicking the chat screen on and off. Otherwise, I can't see you or the screen or something. So I apologize for the interruptions as well. I'm trying to click everywhere on the screen. Okay, so I was going to say, when we're able to become known and build those quality connections, we really build that strong reputation or that brand awareness about us, hence getting tagged on Facebook post or LinkedIn post when someone's reaching out for help or a recommendation. Building those quality connections, we can really leverage them. And as I said, we can leverage in-person events and LinkedIn off each other as well. Because when we're able to do that, we can convert. And when people are seeing that we're able to convert and we're known within the industry, but we're converting in a way that is obviously depending on your industry, perhaps is that softer approach, but is also seen as you really taking the time to nurture your clients. You're not sleazy, salesy, that type of thing. You are then seen as an authority. And the more you're seen as an authority, the more you become known, the bigger the connections build, the more you can convert, referrals drop into your lap. And it's this beautiful cycle, not a vicious cycle, but a beautiful cycle that can work for you. So I do have another question for you guys before I get into this, to give myself a chance to have a drink of water as well. And please feel free to unmute yourself as well. Is who here is really, say, super confident in introducing themselves or loves introducing themselves? Paul, I can see your hand up. Nick, yeah, cool. I'm trying to flick between everybody. I'm sorry if you put your hand up and I can't see you. Anyone struggle with that tonight? Fine with it? Yeah. Cool. Sorry, me, Kevin, me, does that mean you struggle with it? Face-to-face. Isn't that interesting, Lara, that you find face-to-face, but perhaps struggle a little bit online? Always improve. I'm fine with it. Yeah, perfect. What I tend to find really interesting, whether this is online or in person, when people introduce themselves, they can feel super confident about introducing themselves or telling other people what it is that they do. Unfortunately, at times, though, I think we can get so excited about what we do and we're so engrossed in our industry and our roles that when we explain what we do, it's actually not always clear to other people. So even if we're confident, I would encourage you to check in with other people that it makes sense to what you're saying. And I say this with all the love in the world and with respect as well. I have met a few people quite a few times and they say their intro pitch and I sit there and I still go, I have no idea what you do. I really am confused at what you do. And generally it's because, like I said, they're so excited about it, but they're speaking up here in perhaps their jargon or the terminology that's used in their industry. And the rest of us go, I don't know what that means. Like I know, as an example, I can say KPIs and people are like, what are KPIs? I'm like, that's right. I shouldn't assume everyone's worked in corporate or everyone knows what a KPI is. You know, the key performance indicators, it's the budgets and the targets. So even I've been guilty of that myself. So when we want to become known, the three areas I tend to look at is we need to look at who and where our ideal connections are, whether they're clients or referral partners. We want to become known in person at those events, and we also want to become known on LinkedIn. So when we're in person, this is a really brief, I guess, way or simple way I give a lot of my guys to work with to create that introduction statement. So you can simply say, I help or I work with whomever your group of people are to whatever that outcome is and by or through. So as an example, you know, I could say, I work with service-based business owners to grow their business through leveraging networking and LinkedIn strategies and generating referrals or something like that. Or I could keep it super simple and just say, well, I help business owners grow their business. The reason I've given you this is for a couple of reasons, a couple of things. And that is, you can use this I help or I work with type of statement as your LinkedIn headline. However, I would still try and include your job title in your LinkedIn headline as well, because when people search for, I don't know, say business coach as an example, you want to know that those keywords are dotted throughout your profile and your headline is one of those key areas that we need that. But you can certainly use the I help statement within your LinkedIn headline to explain that. But the other thing I want to point out here as well is that if you're going to a networking event, please, if possible, find out how that event runs. I know a lot of us here have been to BX events or maybe BNIs or something like that, where you get up and you have a 30 or a 60-second pitch where you can tell everyone what you do. This type of I help statement can really benefit you there. Plus a little bit of why you find it so exciting and why you love doing what you're doing. That's always a nice little cookie to add. But if you are at, say, more of a casual networking event, and someone comes up to you and says, hey, Nick, so nice to meet you. You wouldn't respond with, hi, Nick, or hey, I'm Nick. I help people, blah, 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 blah. Because sometimes it's just a bit too awkward and clunky. So we need to make sure we pay attention to the type of event that it's in, that we're in, sorry, and also the format of the event. If it's more casual, be prepared to just say, well, actually, I really help people grow their businesses. Because the other thing with that too is it gives somebody a chance to ask you, what do you mean by that? And now we can keep that conversation going. Okay. Or, you know, if I said something like, oh, well, I just help businesses leverage their leads and build their referrals so they never have to work a day in their life. Some people will probably go, hang on, what? That was a whole lot of fluffy words. I didn't get what you just said. So when you're in person, just pay attention to the style of the room to try and work out how to introduce yourself. And Lara, you said in person it's easier. Online, you can do something a little bit similar as well. But I treat the LinkedIn space like I would an in-person event. So when I first reach out to someone on LinkedIn, I will say, you know, like, hey, Lara, it's so great to meet you. I'd love to know a bit more about what you do. And then ideally, Lara would come back and say something, and that's where I go, that's awesome. At some point, the person you're speaking to on LinkedIn would also go, so tell me a bit more about you do. And now that's your opportunity to say, well, actually, I help service-based businesses do this, this, and this. Or I help, you know, I was going to say midlife. I had it written down. I'm sorry, I can't remember now, but I help people get through their midlife crisis. Sorry to put that in a nutshell. I think that was Ron who said something like that. Is that making sense so far, guys? Is there any questions, any little aha moments you got from just that little bit?
Actually, I just had a quick one, Kacie. It's David here.
David, yes, yeah.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry, my camera's playing up, so otherwise I'd turn it on. But with the LinkedIn stuff, do you find a lot of that actually works? Because I've never personally done it myself, but I've got a lot of, you know, contacts like that. And I'm just wondering if you find a lot of the LinkedIn stuff like, hi, I just want to know a bit more about what you do, this and that. Do you find a lot of that actually, does it pay off? Is what I'm asking really? Because I've never tried it.
It definitely does in my experience, and that's exactly what I've helped some of my clients with as well. It does depend on how you come across. I have found if you say something on LinkedIn like, oh, hey, how long have you been a business coach? Or how long have you been doing what you're doing? They're like, did you not read my profile?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
But if even you could switch it around to say, hey, I see you're in the, I don't know, let's just say coaching space, you know, I'd love to hear a bit more about it. Or what do you love the most about it? Like that real personable stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like actually what, like really try and get on a personal level with them instead of just a generic sort of, you know, template almost, or?
Yeah, I mean, I must say, and I know some of you are probably going to cringe at this, I do use a template to reach out to ideal connections.
Yep.
I will use that template, generally speaking, at the beginning of the conversation or the connection piece, but then we'll switch it up and make sure it's personal after that. So I won't do a copy and paste message after they reply necessarily, because obviously you need to pay attention to what's being said. But you can keep it broad and sound personal at the same time.
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks.
So what do you do, David?
Actually, I sell tea at the moment, but I'm looking to reach out to a lot of the local businesses. Like at the moment, it's mostly online, but I want to actually make some personal connections with cafes and restaurants.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not networking as such, but it's still the skills of play, you know, so.
Networking, because to me, networking is just building connections. It's just having those connections. So if you're reaching out to, say, cafe owners, you could just simply start it with, oh, hey, how's the hospitality industry going for you right now?
Yeah. That was kind of going to be my thing. How you doing after COVID kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like just, you know, easy, low-hanging fruit kind of conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And then the idea, especially with LinkedIn, is to actually get people off LinkedIn and onto a conversation, email, Zoom, coffee, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, go because most of these cafes and whatever have, these people have LinkedIn profiles or Facebook profiles or something. So
yeah,
good place to start, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Cool. Any other questions there, guys? I'm just having a look at the chat. Azim, if I've said that correctly.
That's it. Well done. You go to the top of the class, Kacie. Look, I just wanted to ask something. Because you're not from the land of how many people can I contact today, okay, one of the things I find useful, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, is to actually do a little bit of research on the person and their activity on LinkedIn, because like you just said, when you were talking about what your opening sentence is, or introduction is, I often find that what works really well is, so, hi, Kacie, if we're connecting, after you've connected is kind of, do you use LinkedIn much for business? Now, obviously, if I've done some research and see you're absolutely, proliferate everywhere, that'd be a really dumb question to ask. But I find that kind of breaks the ice. And a lot of people say, not as much as I should. That's like the standard answer I get, right? And then it opens the conversation. I just wanted to get your opinion on doing it. And if I've come earlier in your presentation, like, do you find there's value in doing some research around that person you connect, knowing that you're looking for the people you want to connect with, not just a random number of contacts? Is doing that research, do you find from your experience work well for you?
Yeah, there is certainly value in that. And I think if you have the time, that is the best way to do it. If you don't have the time, then we can streamline it a little bit. But I do, like, at the end of the day, you're still dealing with a human, not a keyboard. So we need to remember that. But yeah, if you have the time and that works for you, great. I have clients on, both ends of the playing field. Those who are very strapped for time. So we look at a faster way, but still not cold DMing salesy way. And then others who they do have the time to look at a few profiles and really try and find people there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Aldwin, did you have a question as well before I moved on?
Yes, I do. I just want to make a point that the great quote out there that it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success. And it's amazing how many people actually follow you before you realize they're following you, right? And I've had people come 10, 15 years after I've met them and then say that now I'm finally ready for some media, or I'm finally ready to get myself out there. I'm now ready to do this thing. So I think also in this journey, as we're talking about this, I think it's important to be patient with this journey around making connections and building relationships. Like I've known Nick for probably 15 years or so, and then quite a few people here I've known for years, and we may not have always done business that whole time, but you just never know where things might come back around, So, yeah. So my question is that how patient should people be, do you think, while they're doing, because a lot of people just want the quick business there and then, and how important is patience with this, do you think?
I think it's extremely important, and that's why I say, like, yeah, it's a long-term game, not a quick now gain. It's just how life goes. I am one of those people who believe that you tend to meet people at the right time, at the right reason. And as you just said, Aldwin, there will be people in our network for years, and then something will happen. You'll be like, oh, we can actually do business together, whether it's client to client or referrals or, joint venture opportunities or something. So I think patience is key. I think it is continually to build your network and to continue to grow it is just as important. Like, the way to say take care of at least the 50 closest people to you, because if you take care of those 50, they'll take care of everybody else bit by bit. But yeah, you do need the patience. But I think also don't stop and wait. Keep building, keep growing, keep moving forward as well. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Cool. No worries. Okay. Sorry, I haven't even had a look. Nick, how are we going for time? Are we about?
Yeah, we're sort of 7:15, so got about another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, cool. All right, I won't talk so much. Okay, so I really wanted to quickly cover a couple of other points then, is that the quality connections. So obviously with having quality connections, we want to make sure we're being ourselves. But the conversations part is really where it comes in. And this is where we start to really build that trust and rapport. So I won't go too much into this because we did cover it just a little bit now. But we can build trust and rapport just as fast online as we can in person. And it does come down to, like we just said, those introduction messages, the conversations that we're having with people. When we're creating these connections, whilst to me, we're not going to an event and we're not getting on LinkedIn to sink our teeth into people to find that next client straight away, we still want to use it as a basis to generate leads. So if people now know us, we want to build that trust and rapport. We want to generate leads. And as I think, actually, Nick, you might have been saying it on the video, not tonight. I've watched the video before. Generating leads is also talking to potential collaborative partners, but it's also just talking to people and letting people know what it is that you actually do. So at some of the networking events you go to, you get the chance to have that one-on-one, or if you don't, try and have a one-on-one chat with someone who may be of interest, who you may be able to refer business to back and forth as well. It's really about making sure we pay attention to who's in the room, because to me, networking, it's not about who you know, it's about who they know. And then who knows you is just as important. Because how can someone refer business or give you a lead if they don't even know you exist? But if we build that trust, we build that rapport, we take the time to actually get to know our connections, those leads will come. And the messaging sequencing, we'll just say that, that is, for me, that's one of the strategies you can use within LinkedIn. So you can create your LinkedIn message templates as a guide, not a copy and paste, as I said before, but as a guide to help you create a strategy around reaching out to those ideal people you want to have a chat with, generating those leads, building that trust, but having that sequencing so you can move them from a LinkedIn connection to a phone call or a Zoom session or something like that. Yeah, awesome. And then the last part I wanted to cover is, I'm sure we've all heard that we need to nurture our network. One little tip I'll give you here, though, is nurturing can actually be strategic as well. You can have a full-on strategy around how you're nurturing your network. This could be as simple as, I know I need to follow up Nick in 2 weeks. I'm going to put it in my calendar as a reminder, or my CRM. Now, Nick may think you're calling him out of the blue, but in the back end of your business, you've actually got a strategy to nurture your connections. So you know when it pops up in your calendar, you need to give Nick a call, and that call is just simply, hey, Nick, how's it going? How's your week been? Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, I saw you online the other day or whatever. And it's just like a chit chat type of call. So nurturing is, yes, touch points and email nurturing and all that sort of thing as well. But you can nurture your network by just going, hey, do you want to catch up for a coffee? And it can seem totally random to the person you're reaching out to, but for you, it's a strategy. There's something in your calendar, there's some sort of plan you're following so that you can just keep on top of touching base with the people who are important to you in your network. David, what do you think about business speed dating? I think it can really work. Again, I think it's one of those things that you need to be prepared for. Be really prepared in the way of how you're going to succinctly and clearly say what you do, like who you'd love to connect with, or what you'd love to know about them. If you think they're great, grab their card, put a tick or a smiley face or something on the business card and go for it. I've done speed networking events myself. The ones that I've also attended that work great are organized extremely well. And then there's some that aren't, but it's certainly worth giving it a go. It's a lot of fun in my experience, and you do meet a lot of people.
All right.
Sorry,
thanks.
what was that?
So I'll give it a go. Thanks.
Yeah, give it a go. I've also been to some speed networking events where everyone's like, get out your phones, and we're all connecting on LinkedIn. And at the time I'm like, I need to put where I met them in the message because I'm not going to remember at this stage. So yeah, so there's definitely ways to it. And it's, yeah, speed networking can be quite interesting and fun.
Cool. Okay.
Now, one little strategy I wanted to take you through, which will help with your conversions, is when I'm not going to go through this in big detail, but when we have a sales call, what do you guys think is one of the key mistakes we can make? Or what is it that we either a mistake that we're making or the thing we should be talking about first?
I would say just trying to sell straight off the bat.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've also got, sorry, I don't know who AF is, but not asking for the sale. Aldwin speaking too much. Yep, that can happen.
Not asking questions and listening.
Yeah. Not properly listening to other people saying, yep, that's same. Perfect. Thanks, Laura. Pricing. Yeah. So Anthony, do you think the pricing is a mistake we're saying, or something that we should or shouldn't be saying first?
I have no idea. I just get customers ring me up and say thanks once I've given them a price.
Right,
I give
and
them a
then
price.
bug it off.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
right.
Fair enough. Well, what might be happening, and I'm not necessarily, this is definitely saying it's happening for you, Anthony, but what I tend to find what happens a lot is we do get the order wrong, in the sense of when we jump on that sales call. So we've got this lead, we've got a referral, we've nurtured them. Now we're on to that call of where we actually get to tell them what it is that we do and the cost of it. I do find a lot of people tend to, sometimes talk a bit too much, or they talk about the logistics and the price pretty quickly. And now it's really, really, really hard to show value. It's really hard to show them that our product or service is actually going to benefit them in some way. So a little 6-step process that I tend to follow is when we get on a call with someone, just reiterate the problem with them. You know, like, because I kind of know what you do, Paul. That could just be, okay, so what you're telling me here is that, you know, you've got a lot of family overseas and you're really struggling to work out how they're going to be part of this event. I know it's not a happy event, but event. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's totally right. That's the problem.
Yeah, perfect.
And
Yeah.
I have the solution.
Yeah. So we don't want to go to the solution just yet, though,
No.
either.
But that's why we talk about the problem first. And it's about how you feel, not just the technical stuff. You know, I've shifted that emphasis a bit over a period of time too, instead of the mechanics.
Yeah, that's it.
You get to see multiple angles of what's happening in the venue, rather than saying, I use 2 cameras. But, you know, I can show you multiple angles because I use 2 cameras or 3 cameras if it's necessary. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, as some of you guys said as well, it is so important to ask questions first, so that when we get to the sales part of the call, we can reiterate that problem. We can come back to them with what it is that their biggest issues are. Then we can actually deliver a prescription. Okay, so what you're telling me is this is the problem. I think what you need is this, is that right? And a lot of people go, yeah, actually that's right. And now we can give them a promise. Well, you've got people overseas, and I'm just using you as an example, sorry, Paul. Well, you're telling me you've got people overseas who can't attend. And what I can do for you is actually give you this 3-camera view so it feels like they're there. And what I'll promise you, though, is that they'll feel like it's a real life experience.
Yeah.
The next step here is, if you have one, and you'll probably find a lot of businesses can create one, is have a model to show them, especially if you can get on a Zoom call. So if you remember at the very beginning, or towards the beginning of tonight, I had that little model that drew itself, that it said about becoming known and quality connections and conversion. But I also showed you that the problems were that people aren't known and things like that. By showing a model, something like that, you can actually show them within a model visually. So it will cement in people's brains as well how it is you can actually help somebody. And then once we've done that, then we can talk logistics, and then we can talk price. Because generally speaking, if we're able to take people through the first 3 to 4 points there, then when we get to the logistics and price, they've already seen the value. They understand that the service is worthwhile, that it is worth the payment, so to speak.
They want it, they need it at any price.
Yeah.
That's the last bit. They just, at the end of the conversation, they just need to know how much have I got to pay and what date do you need it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, and you'll have an invoice in your inbox in 1 hour's time.
Yeah, that's it. So I do find, and like I said, I've been I've done this myself. I talk price or I talk logistics, and then I get into price and then realized I haven't actually solved the problem at all. So this is just a simple 6-step process you can go through. And I know I did go over it quite at a high level, but just to give you an idea, if you can take people through this process, it should make those sales a lot easier for you. And then, the last thing there was obviously referrals. So part of converting is there is a whole process around those referrals. But if we can take the time to nurture our network, get to know them, introduce ourselves clearly and succinctly, can't say that word tonight, then we can get to the part of creating a strategy as well around asking for the sales, around asking for those referrals. And even when clients come on board, there is a way to, there's a strategy really as well, or a framework you can use there as well to, again, ask for those referrals. That is probably it, but I do have a really quick question. And because I am wrapping it up for you, Nick, is that out of everything you've seen tonight, what is at least one thing you're going to implement within the next week? Or one thing you're going to take with you and try and give it a go and implement within the next week? And I say week, not 2 weeks, not month, within the next week. Okay, at what point are you asking for referrals? Your referrals can be asked, I believe you need to, as I said, you need to build a bit of a relationship with someone first to ask for referrals. You can ask for referrals straight away too if you're at the right type of event. When it comes to LinkedIn, we do need to build that trust more, and ideally we want to be talking to them, maybe even having a couple of conversations before we go, hey, Baldwin, just wondering, would you happen to know anyone who really needs help with blah, 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 as an example? Yep, Sally, you're going to follow up. Perfect. Baldwin's the sales, yeah. Cool.
So when
Nice,
when I'm live streaming or have just live streamed a service in one of my regular venues, I just make sure that they've still got some of these in the rack at the back of the church, for example. If it's a different one, I say, I have some of these in my car, and I think, would you like to put some of these in your information section so that other people who come into your church can find information about how I can help them, like I have with this family today?
Yeah.
And then I get phone calls like I had this morning from someone introduced himself, and I said, I just want to make some inquiries because my mum passed away and we're having the funeral next week in the church at Guymere, and there's my opportunity to say, oh, St. Kath's? Yes. Oh, okay. And the priest said, oh, you mean Father Greg? Yeah. So already I'm almost in the door because I knew who he was talking about. And he said, yeah, he said, you come and do their live streaming there and you do a great job.
Yeah. And if you're not already, Paul, too, I would be, if you can, if you have the time, is again, maybe putting it into your calendar just to touch base with a few of these guys, or think about who else besides the actual venues that you can talk to. Again, if you're not already, that you could talk to spread the word a bit more about what you do as well.
I'm the number one referrer from at least 3 or 4 of the high volume funeral directors' homes down here. White lady ring up. Say, Paul, are you available on Thursday? Yada, yada. Yep. Olsen's send me actually white lady sends me an email. Olsen's ring up and say, are you available for a funeral in Miranda on Friday?
Yeah. Awesome. That sounds awesome. And I know you apparently have 6 anyway through referral, so well done. A couple other things people have said here is, yeah, connecting with people on LinkedIn after you've met them at an event. That's perfect. Says Lara, it doesn't matter if they change jobs, businesses, whatever. They are forever in your little black book of LinkedIn, and you can always reach out and connect with them. And Jeff, you're going to look at your connections and get to talk with them more. And that's the thing is with LinkedIn is, whether you've got 5 connections or 5,000 or 30,000, can't have more than that, you can always go back and touch base with people. You don't always only have to chase the new stuff. So I hope that's been helpful, guys. Nick,
Where I fall short in all of that is after the event is going back and nurturing the family that I nurtured so much leading up to and during their event. And that's what I'm trying to get going in Drip.
this is probably a deeper conversation. This is probably a deeper conversation, Paul, but even there you could just look at, is there something you can send them just as a touch point or something like that?
Exactly. And I know that I should, I know that I want to. I get busy, I forget.
It's all about that time balance,
I get tired. Yeah. And I need what you said a moment ago. Put it in the calendar.
Yeah.
And Nick would think I'm just ringing him out of the blue, but I've programmed it a week ahead.
Yeah. And look, I'm under the belief that my calendar and I are now dating. I'm trying to marry it. And what I mean by that is if it's in the calendar, it gets done. So, you know, that's something I constantly remind myself of. So date your calendar, right. give it a trial and then commit.
If it's not in the calendar, there's very little chance it'll get done.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. AF's just asked a really quick question. Would LinkedIn be any use for network marketing businesses? Look, AF, I say yes, and I say this with respect. I say yes if you've got a business to back it up. As an example, I did have a friend of mine, she was selling oils, but because she also did massage and she had a holistic practice, blah, 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 the business was first and then the network marketing was second. It was the supportive. If you want to jump on LinkedIn to recruit, I've even done this myself well in the past, it is quite an uphill battle. It can be quite a struggle. And I think because it's going to be the way you approach it. So it could work, but I think you're really going to have to think about how you approach it. If you have a business that's at the forefront and the networking marketing products say support that, then I'd be focusing on the business and coming in with the network marketing products at the end of that, at the back of that. Cool. Awesome. Nick, back to you, I think.
Excellent. Excellent. That's good as gold. Thanks for that, Kacie. So that's excellent. Networking is one of my favorite things. I always like, even though I'm an online person, I always like getting out and meeting and greeting and catching up with people. So yeah, always a ton of stuff there, and I learned a heap out of well. So hopefully everyone else did as well too. But you have a door prize tonight as well, don't you?
I do. So it is to help anyone with their LinkedIn, really. So it is a LinkedIn, I should know what this is called, an AEST LinkedIn starter kit. And what it is, you could look at it as it's your DIY to get going on LinkedIn. So I'm sorry, I'll just quickly share the screen super quickly again. But what it is, it has everything you need from helping you update your profile with like fill in the blank templates through to how to reach out to people on LinkedIn, a messaging strategy that you can follow. Obviously, you need to make it your own, but that's what it's there for. Plus, I've given you Canva templates to help you create your images, to help you create your background image, and also a 90-minute content workshop, not in competition with Nick. I'm sure the two work together great.
I'm sure they do.
Also a plan to help you actually map out that content, a format to follow. It literally is a DIY LinkedIn bundle to get yourself going, marketing, connecting on LinkedIn. So
I actually need that as well. So, but you know, it's one of those things. The LinkedIn profile doesn't get looked at long enough to be fixed up. So, all right, well, that's our door prize for tonight. So don't leave just yet, because if you leave, then and we draw your name out, which is likely to happen, then we just go and redraw. So do we have the wheel of names? Let's see if we've got that. We do. So everyone's name is in this wheel of names. So let's spin the wheel and give us a virtual drum roll, please. And it ticks around, and our lucky winner is Lara. There we go.
And she asked for the link.
Oh, look at that. Fantastic. Well, look at that.
Awesome.
Lara is the first time here today, and you get to be the lucky winner as well, too. So well done. We'll connect you with Kacie tomorrow by email, and then you can hook up and organise how to deliver that. So congratulations and well done. And a big thank you to Kacie tonight for coming along. I know it's a bit of a mission. So hang on a sec.
Yeah, thank you, Kacie.
Thank you. She is actually in the midst of moving house.
Oh.
So
I found a plant, so it wasn't such a blank wall.
So she's got a lot going on, and she agreed to be in here tonight. I did actually see her program that she's running. She got a program running as well too on LinkedIn, and that reminded me that I haven't been in touch with her as much as I should have been. So a good opportunity to get her in front of all of you tonight.
So Nick, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but how well Kacie's clothing match the colors in her PowerPoint. She's full on brand, man. I mean, so.
I
Well
do
done.
have a jacket as well.
Look at that. And she hates green or teal.
There you go. Perfect example of personal branding and perfect example of a business coach there that encourages people to brand themselves as well too. Excellent. So if you do want to hook up with Kacie or connect with Kacie, what's the best way to do that, Kacie?
Look, I am the only Kacie Brignell in the world. I'm going to pop that in the chat quickly. I can't spell my name right. So I'm the only Kacie Brignell in the world. You can find me by that name on LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever. I do encourage LinkedIn because especially if we're not connected, it will give you a chance to send that initial connection message. Or I'm also known as Kacie Rose on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Excellent. So if you want to find out a wee bit more about what Kacie does or how you might have a question from tonight, just feel free to reach out to her on LinkedIn. And if you've enjoyed the show and you'd like to watch it again, it will be up on the YouTube channel, the Smash Go YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon. So we've dropped that chat into link into chat already. Best thing to do is to go and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. And when you do subscribe, you'll see a little bell pop up just beside the subscription button. If you click that, you'll get a notification when that episode has been uploaded. And while you're there, you can also browse through the almost 400 other episodes that are up there at the moment as well too. So again, if you're wondering what to watch on Netflix, don't worry about Netflix, flick over to YouTube, all sorts of gold sitting over there on that channel as well too. And I think that is our show tonight. So once again, let's give Kacie a good virtual round of applause for joining us tonight. Good luck with your moving. And for everyone else,
thank you to Nick as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And yeah, and again, we hold this every Tuesday night, so you are welcome to come back. It's the same time. We have another guest speaker. In fact, our speaker next week is actually on the show, or he might have just disappeared. It is Kevin Hargraves, and he's going to be talking about Know Your Numbers. If you haven't seen this presentation, absolutely fantastic presentation. I've seen it a couple of times as well. And for business, it is an outstanding presentation as well. So you'll want to be here for that. All right, well, that's it for tonight. Go out and enjoy the rest of the evening, and I look forward to seeing you all online and back here next week. Have a good night.
Where else on earth would you possibly want to be on a Tuesday night?
Absolutely, I concur.
Good night, all.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.